Somewhere between the laptop on a beach photo and the 10K months on autopilot reel, financial freedom stopped being a destination and became a product. Most people believe financial freedom is simply about building enough passive income to quit your job. Save aggressively, invest wisely. Eventually, the money works for you. That is the version being sold everywhere right now, in courses, in coaching programs, in the comment sections of every finance video on the internet. Here is what that version leaves out. The coaching and financial education industry selling you that dream is now worth nearly $6 billion globally. The people at the top of it are not financially free because of passive income or dividend portfolios. They are financially free because you keep buying courses about financial freedom.
That is not a conspiracy. It is a business model. And once you understand it, three things become very clear. What financial freedom actually costs in real numbers, why the path being sold to most people leads somewhere completely different, and what the honest version of this goal actually looks like in 2026. I spent this week pulling withdrawal rate research, FIRE movement data, and personal finance industry numbers. What I found reframes everything most people think they know about this topic. Stay with this to the end, because the third point is the one that changes the decisions. Start here, because this reframe destroys the comfortable illusion before the math even enters the conversation. They get Instagram ads promising financial freedom with 3 easy steps. They get YouTube gurus selling the dream, while their actual income comes from selling the dream. It is a grift, and it is everywhere.
Here is the specific scale of what that grift looks like. The global coaching industry generated $5.34 billion in revenue in 2025 and is projected to reach $5.8 billion in 2026, growth of 54% since 2019. A significant portion of that market is personal finance and wealth coaching, courses on passive income, financial independence, investing, and escaping the 9-to-5. The irony buried inside that number is precise. An industry worth nearly $6 billion exists specifically because millions of people have not yet achieved the thing the industry is selling. The business model only works as long as you stay in the market for the product. A person who genuinely achieves financial freedom stops buying financial freedom courses, which means the industry's revenue depends structurally on the dream remaining slightly out of reach. That is not a bug in the system. It is the engine of it. The language used to sell this dream is engineered to feel urgent and achievable simultaneously. Passive income, automated revenue, money while you sleep. These ideas range from 10 to 500 or more hours of initial work before you see meaningful returns, and the passive part comes only after you have built the asset. That disclaimer appears in small print. The beach photo appears everywhere else. Understanding who profits from the dream you are chasing is not pessimism. It is the first real filter. Because once you clear it, the actual math of financial freedom becomes visible, and it looks nothing like what the courses describe. The industry lying about the path is uncomfortable. But the second truth is the one that most people inside the FIRE community and personal finance world are still not saying clearly enough. The actual number required for financial freedom is far higher than almost anyone admits publicly, and the formula used to calculate it has a flaw that most people do not discover until it is too late. This is where theory meets arithmetic, and the arithmetic wins. The standard formula for financial freedom is the 4% rule. You calculate your annual expenses, multiply by 25, and that is your freedom number. Spend $40,000 a year, need $1 million. Spend $80,000 a year, need $2 million. Simple, clean, widely taught. Here is what the formula was actually designed for, and it is not what most people are using it for. The classic 4% rule works for 30-year retirements, but early retirees need 3% to 3.5%. Morningstar's 2026 research now recommends 3.9% as the safe rate, reflecting longer time horizons and higher inflation risk. That single decimal point change destroys the math for an entire generation. If your freedom number at 4% is $1 million, your actual safe number at 3.5% is $1.14 million.
At 3%, it is $1.33 million. That is $330,000 of additional savings required simply because you want freedom at 35 instead of 65. Early retirees face 40 to 60-year time horizons, not 30. The original Trinity study tested 30-year windows. If you retire at 35, you may need your portfolio to last 55 to 65 years, a scenario the standard formula was never designed to cover. Now, apply this to what financial freedom actually costs to fund in 2026. The standard formula is annual expenses multiplied by 25. For example, $50,000 in annual spending requires roughly $1.25 million. A projection based on steady real returns can still be disrupted by inflation, taxes, healthcare, and market volatility. Healthcare alone dismantles most freedom number calculations. The average family spends more than $7,000 per year on healthcare costs. That is before a single unexpected diagnosis, before a deductible is met, before the ACA subsidy changes that hit middle-income households directly in 2026.
Build healthcare properly into your freedom number, and the total climbs by $175,000 in portfolio requirements just to cover that one category. The freedom number being sold in most courses assumes a world where costs stay flat, markets return consistently, and nothing unexpected happens for the next 40 years. Real financial independence planning in 2026 requires accounting for a world where none of those things are guaranteed. With 50 years of retirement, a 4% withdrawal rate gives you only a 90% chance of success. A rate of 3.5% would be safer for most people planning extended early retirement. A 10% chance of running out of money before you die is not freedom.
It is a slow-motion bet with your entire future as the stake. The industry is selling the dream for profit. The math behind the dream is harder and more expensive than advertised. But the third point is the one that nobody in this space wants to say out loud because it undermines the entire emotional core of what financial freedom is supposed to mean. And yet, it is the most important thing you will hear about this topic. This is the point that goes deeper than money, and it is backed by research that the financial freedom industry has every incentive to ignore. Research consistently demonstrates that early retirees face notable psychological and social challenges. A Finnish study of over 3,000 public sector employees found that psychological distress during retirement was higher among those with smaller social networks and more cumulative risk factors. Stanford University's Center on Longevity indicates that retirees who maintain purpose-driven activities show significantly better health outcomes than those who do not. The dream being sold is freedom from work. The research says that for most people, freedom from structured contribution, from something that requires your effort and produces something meaningful, is not a destination. It is an emptiness. The transition from accumulation to decumulation is psychologically demanding. Studies show that after decades of saving, the switch to actually spending retirement savings creates significant discomfort for many retirees. They saved so hard to reach the number that spending it feels wrong. The goal that organized their identity for 20 years is gone. What replaces it? Many people who pursue FIRE do not stop working entirely. Instead, they transition into work that aligns with their passions, take on part-time or freelance roles, or start businesses. The difference is that they have the freedom to choose how they spend their time, rather than being tied to a job purely for income. Financial freedom is not about stopping work. It's about removing financial desperation from your decisions. It means having enough margin that you can walk away from bad jobs, recover from layoffs, and make choices without pressure. Instead of being forced into survival mode, you gain time, flexibility, and control over your next move. True freedom doesn't require millions, but it does require enough stability that no single crisis destroys you. It's less about luxury and more about safety. The problem is, financial freedom is often sold as total escape from work, when in reality, it's about control, not avoidance. The honest version is simpler but harder. build margin, eliminate desperation, and design a life where money no longer dictates every decision. If this gave you a framework that felt more honest than anything else you have heard on this topic, share it with someone still buying the dream. The next video breaks down exactly what the honest number actually looks like and the fastest route to the version that actually delivers.